Good evening, folks. Now, what is it that brings Davy to your screens this evening? 48 minutes before he goes to work. But what brings Davy to your screens this evening, 48 minutes before he goes to work, is Sarwar up here, trying to tell us that Mr. Yusuf has surrounded himself in a ring of secrecy, and there is no transparency in the Scottish Government. And as we know, one of Mr. Sunak's pledges when he came to power was professionalism, integrity, transparency. All right? But the reason I'm on your screens tonight, folks, is because Sarwar says there is no transparency in the Scottish Government. There's no transparency in the Labour Party whatsoever. There's no transparency in Westminster whatsoever. As for integrity and honesty, neither Sunak, Sarwar, or Starmer could bloody well spell it. Sunak is one of the most dishonest people on the planet. He is a corrupt banker who is hiding his tax affairs and who probably doesn't pay as much tax in the UK and what he should. But ask yourself, why is somebody worth 700 million quid off? I think it's come down a couple of 100 million quid. Why is he Prime Minister? What's the advantage of being Prime Minister? Well, as we all now know, the advantage of Sunak becoming Prime Minister is his wife's father's company has benefited to the tune of £176 million of public contracts. Let's move on to, so that's the liar, tax cheat, and bent banker that brought down the Royal Bank of Scotland, Sunak, and his wee box. He's no honesty, no integrity, nothing. And he's only in public service to cream off the public purse on behalf of his father-in-law and his wife. Let's move on to Starmer when it comes to integrity, honesty, and professionalism. This is a guy that made 10 pledges to the people in the Labour Party and in the wider UK, because the Labour movement is a UK-wide movement. Remember, Sarwar's only in charge of an accounting office in Glasgow. He isn't actually a Labour leader at all. But we'll get to him. Starmer lied his way to the top of the Labour Party. He then abandoned all his pledges, except for one, which has been kicked into the long grass, and that is the one where he might give EU citizens with permanent residence a vote. He might. So Starmer lied his way to the top of the second biggest, or the biggest political party in the UK, even though Starmer has been shedding members at a rapid rate. He lied his way to the top. He then told the people in that party that he was going to rewrite the DNAs of the party. He then came out and told the party, oh, by the way, you've elected a Tory as leader. Wow. He is now putting policemen through his diktat right across local authorities in the UK. And we're being told that when it comes to standing in the next general election, Starmer will be appointing his Tory policemen there as well. So Sunak, insider trader, bent banker, tax dodger, and taking advantage of his position in public office to scam off a public purse. No honesty, no integrity, no professionalism there. Starmer lied his way to the top of the biggest party in the UK, and now he's turning its DNA apparently into Tory, the Red Tories. He's made it clear to the members, by the way, I'm a Tory, and he's going to put policemen in place right across local authorities, right across the next election. There's actually a Stussy in Hamilton, Rutherglen West at the moment where he's trying to place a candidate in front of the candidate that the constituency Labour Party want. So they're talking about no campaigning for Labour's candidate for Hamilton West and Rutherglen. But let's move on to Sarwar, the guy who's talking about secrecy in the Scottish Government and lack of transparency, shall we? This is a guy that claims to be a Labour leader here in Scotland. He's not. He's in charge of an accounting office in Glasgow. Lie number one. He claims to be a man of the people. But, as we all know, he's a red Tory and a champagne socialist who refuses to pay his own workforce the living wage. What's his excuse for that? The law doesn't say he has to. So much for man of the people. Watching Sarwar own picket lines demanding that public servants get better paid, while the people working in his own family business are on bloody tax credits because they won't pay them the living wage. Wow. So, lie number two. He's not a man of the people. He's a deceiver and a liar, and somebody who's quite happy to keep his own workforce in poverty while demanding the state pays more to public servants. So that's Sarwar for you, dishonest. He's not the Labour leader here in Scotland. He's in charge of an accounting unit in Glasgow. He's not a Labour leader at all. Labour have no policies here in Scotland. Sarwar stands for nothing. Nothing. He leads a group of MSPs in Holyrood, but they all bow to Starmer. The answer to Starmer. So that's 3 lies there. And he's got the cheek to accuse Humza Yousaf of surrounding himself with secrecy and that there's no transparency in the Scottish Government. Wow. Sarwar's leader, Starmer, lied his way to the top of the Labour Party, and it suits Sarwar that Starmer turns it into another Tory party. So that's the 3 so-called leaders in the UK. Douglas Ross, we're not going to talk about Douglas Ross because, let's face it, he's not worth the problem. He's not worth talking about. He isn't a problem. First Minister made him look like an idiot every week. The previous First Minister makes him look like an idiot every week. No point talking about Ross, but he's no dishonest. He'll tell you he's a wee runt, a wee rat, and he's only in it for the money. But hey, as I say, it was Sarwar that brings me to your screen tonight, talking about lack of transparency and integrity in the Scottish Government and whom's surrounding himself with secrecy. When the unionist choice in Scotland is a corrupt banker who broke down the Royal Bank of Scotland for his own benefit, a corrupt banker who's been insider trading since he made it into public office, and a man who's now trying to help Bojo cover his sins. Starmer, just an out-and-out liar. Anybody that's thinking about voting Labour's a nutter. An absolute nutter. The man lied his way to the top of the biggest political organisation in the United Kingdom, and now he's rewriting its DNA to make it a Tory party. Don't get much more dishonest than that. If that's people that you think you want to vote for. Huh? Remember, Sarwar's not a say really in the general election which is coming up, so we can ignore him. But I'm just pointing out that he is a liar. He's the branch manager of an accounting office. So he's not the leader, so he's a liar. Scottish Labour have no policies. They're no the party of the people. They're liars. Because Starmer's made it clear that he's a Tory and he's rewriting the Labour Party's DNA to be Tory. You're going to vote for the Tories, you're going to vote for Labour. I'm just making it clear for you. Get it into your heads. You are voting for liars. You are voting for dishonest people in public office. I haven't made any of this up. And one of the two parties, in fact both of them, are vindictive towards the Scottish people and Scottish democracy. As Lorna Slater pointed out today, there's been an onslaught on democracy for a while now. It started out when they denied us the right to enshrine the rights of our children into Scots law, because it would mean the Westminster Parliament would need to consider our children's rights when writing law. Wow, you'd have thought they'd be doing that anyway.
Show that.
Yes, Madam Director didn't know it was live. Okay, that then went on to caution our attempts to make life better for the LGBT community. That's then led to this, which led to the Section 35 on the GRR bill. Now we've got them telling us we can't have glass in our deposit return scheme. The evolution's over, folks. But if anybody in Scotland thinks that they're voting Tory or voting Labour, are you actually aware of what you're voting for? A corrupt liar, a banker who crashed the Royal Bank of Scotland so that he could make a few quid, who's now in public office and is creaming up a public purse on behalf of his family. Well, by the way, he was also instrumental in the killing of hundreds of thousands of people through austerity and, of course, the carry on with COVID. I'm trying not to get angry. As I say, Starmer's just a right-out liar. A liar. A power-hungry liar. And that makes him dangerous. Because he lied to his top. He lied to get himself to the top of the biggest political party and on these islands. And now he's changing it to a Tory party. Rewriting his DNA. They're no longer the party of the working people. They are no longer a party of the people, sorry. They then went on to claim that they're the party of working people and working people only. Labour then went on to claim they are the party of the middle class and the homeowners. Well, no one of the trade unions are disassociating themselves with the Labour Party. So that's your choices, folks. But Sarwar, a man who lies about being the leader of the Labour Party here in Scotland. There isn't a Labour Party leader in Scotland. There isn't a Labour Party in Scotland. It's a UK-wide Labour Party. They only have one leader, and that's a liar, Starmer. But Sarwar's also a liar. And him claiming that whom's a useless government has no transparency and is surrounding themselves with secrecy. Wow. You see, Lorna Slater's just blasted the UK government and the Parliament this afternoon over the deposit return scheme. And it's come to light that they were actually briefing the press on Friday before they even spoke to the Scottish Government. So the press on Friday knew that they were going to demand that glass was taken out the scheme before the Scottish Government did. Whomsa didn't get any notification until 21:45 on Friday evening. Right, anyway, that's a short. It was about transparency, integrity. Words that the Labour Party and the Tory Party know nothing about but are accusing the SNP of. Have a nice evening. I've got to go to work. Bye for now.